Hey, it's your girl, your favorite paralegal, aka Cassandra Lynn, and welcome to Legal Doc Talk 24/7. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. A lot of people have been hitting me up on IG wanting to cover this case in the Chastity Malone case, so I am going to do my intake on it and just be done with it. So with Andre Harvey, that is Karlissa's son, the brother of Blueface. He has been incarcerated for um, a situation that arose a couple of days ago, which landed him in Kern, I believe it's Kern County, California. And I just wanted to kind of go over his charges and bring to you guys' attention another case that is currently pending. So on the screen, this is just a uh, snippet of a divorce that it's currently pending. Nothing has been finalized as the parties were ordered to have a court-ordered mediation. This case was actually filed on March 7th, 2024. And as you can see, it is a dissolution with marriage with minor children, and it's currently pending. Katie did bring this divorce before the court, and in light of the situation that took place a couple of days ago, it did prompt the court to act on this case because back in the summer of 2024, they were ordered to do ordered mediation. They were ordered to do a mediation, but in the interim, Katie did file a temporary restraining order. But when you file a temporary restraining order, you still have to go before the court and you still have to plead your case in regards to, as you know, why you are wanting this order. And she was talking about as far as the situation that was going on between them. It was a domestic violent situation, which prompted her to do a temporary restraining order. Now, it's not going to give us every single detail because this is a family law case and the records are going to be not sealed but not available to public records only because a minor child is involved. But in that order, I believe it shows July 3rd, 2024. She wasn't to have no contact with him. They had to use a parent app in order for both of them, well, for him to communicate with the minor child. The calls were to be monitored. Let me see, they had to have health insurance and what else? I believe that is pretty much it. So, she was ordered to stay away from him temporarily. But y'all have to understand it's just that a temporary restraining order. It only lasts for so many days. Now, this case is still pending as of today, which means that they really didn't follow through with seeing the divorce through. Because of the events that took place a couple of days ago, they did once again was ordered to do a mediation, but however, that was dismissed, canceled, whatever. But it does say that on 8/15, I believe that they rescheduled the mediation. So whatever time that is going to be, I'm sure that they're going to make this available. But as of right now, it doesn't show uh, a date or a time in which the court order mediation will actually take place. So as of right now, the divorce case is still pending, and I'm sure that they have to figure out what's going on with his criminal case before they can proceed with anything. Which leads me to the California. Oh, let me go here. Well, all of this is in California. So this is his criminal cases. Now, The latter three are not his, it's just the first two. So he had a I'm not sure if it was a warrant status prior to that, but it was reported that he had charges for a firearm possession as well as grand theft firearm. There's been other content creators that have gone over this situation as to what happened. But as far as the charge description, it was a firearm possession. And because he was a previous what did you call it, like a previous felon? Well, they labeled him as a violent felon. So because he already had previous, felony charges, and I'll show you guys the penal codes and everything. The bail amount for these two charges, one is a felony, the other one, the grand theft firearm, is a misdemeanor. The bail amount for this alone is $50,000. This complaint was filed June 12th, 2024, and he was arrested on the 7th of, this month. So they were looking for him. He has, and I'm going to explain pre-preliminary and preliminary hearing in just a second when I go over the other charges. But he had his felony arraignment on, what was that, the 11th? And his next court date is going to be March 19th, so next week. Now, as far as the charges goes, the firearm possession, that is what 299A. So this it's going to be the first one here. So, notwithstanding subdivision section of 29800, any person who has been previously convicted of any of the offenses listed in section 29905 and who owns or has in possession or under custody or control any firearm is guilty of a felony. Okay, so because he was previously convicted, he is automatically guilty of a felony. So that's why he is charged with this felony possession. As far as the grand theft I was about to say grand theft auto, the grand theft firearm, uh, the legal definition of that particular section, California Penal Code 587D2, it states that grand theft of a firearm occurs when someone takes a firearm that has a value exceeding $950 or they have prior conviction of a specific serious offense. And that could be extremely violent crimes, lewd acts, sodomy, ooh, all of that, golly. Any other X crimes, unaliving or attempted unaliving, assault with a machine, pow pow on a police officer or fighter, gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated, or any other violent felony crime punishable by life in prison or death. Okay, so that is why he was charged with that particular um, charge. All right, so going to the most recent charges that stemmed on the arrest date of 3/7. So his bail amount for these particular charges is $50,000. So in total, $100,000. Um, the first count is inflict corporal injury on spouse cohabitant, and that is Penal Code 273.5A. And based on that, it states here that a person who willfully inflicts corporal injury resulting in a traumatic condition upon a victim described in subdivision B is guilty of a felony, and upon conviction thereof shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison of 2, 3, or 4 years, or in a county jail for not more than 1 year, or by a fine of up to $6,000, or by both that fine and imprisonment. And the subdivision is shall apply to the victim as follows. So whether it's the offender's spouse or former spouse, a cohabitant or former cohabitant, the offender's fiance or someone whom the offender has or previously had an engagement or dating relationship as defined in paragraph 10 of subdivision F, section 243, or the mother or father of the offender's child. Okay, so that is why he was charged with the first one. 245A4, assault on person with force, great bodily injury. And going here, it's this paragraph, it reads, any person who commits an assault upon the person of another by any means of force likely to produce great bodily injury shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for 2, 3, or 4 years, or in the county jail for not exceeding 1 year, or by a fine not exceeding $10,000, or by both the fine and imprisonment. So it's they're going to take into account his um previous criminal history as well. The only thing we could do is just pray. And I can't imagine as a mother of having both of your boys incarcerated. Moving on, going down here, so pretty much these hearings also apply to the hearing for the grand theft firearm charge as well as the other charge. But let me break down. So he already had his felony arraignment. So on the 19th, he has his preliminary hearing. Now, this is the hearing obviously between the arraignment and the actual preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing, I can't even talk. I've been talking all day. It refers to the various legal steps and activities that takes place before a formal preliminary hearing, which determines if there is enough evidence to proceed in to trial in a felony case. Okay, if y'all followed the Jarvis Butts, y'all know that there was a preliminary hearing for the judge to determine whether or not was enough evidence to send to the circuit court for trial. Um, so preliminary activities would be the initial appearance. Obviously, he had that already. He would actually enter his plea to the charges, whether it be guilty, not guilty, or no contest. During this time between, well, I don't even know. Well, it's back to back because they have the preliminary hearing on the 19th, and then on the 20th they have the preliminary. So it's not really enough time, but it just depends on what evidence they have. But usually during this time, both the prosecutor and the defense will engage in discovery, which means that they will actually exchange the information. So if there's any witnesses, if there's any evidence, they will at that time exchange it and they will review it. This will also be a time where attorneys can actually file any pretrial motions where they challenge the admissibility of any evidence, if they want to dismiss any charges or they want to actually argue the legality of any of those charges. They have that time to do so. And then also they can engage in any type of negotiations or plea bargains before the preliminary hearing. But like I said, the preliminary hearing is like the next day, so they have like less than 24 hours to do all of this. That's crazy. Um, but this is the step, and it's a crucial step to determine if there is enough evidence to move forward with trial. Now, I don't know if they go to court on the 19th, and based off of everything I say, they may need time. So they may push the preliminary hearing date, further into the future. But once they get to the preliminary hearing, once again, the judge is going to determine based off of the evidence that the prosecution has presented to say, okay, we're going to go ahead and proceed with trial. The preliminary hearing is the time where the prosecution has to ensure that they have enough evidence to proceed with this case. They have to present that evidence to the judge. And then on the flip side, the defense can challenge the prosecutor's test. And if the I said test, the case. And if there are any witnesses, which I don't know the extent of everything that has happened, but if there are any witnesses that the prosecution is going to bring forth, the preliminary hearing will be the time where the defense counsel can actually cross-examine them. But either way, it is going to be up to the prosecution. They have the burden of proof. They have to ensure that there is enough evidence in order to proceed to trial. Because otherwise, if they don't, we all know what's the likelihood of that. It's going to go away. So, with this case, as well as the other case, the prosecution does have the burden of proof. They have to determine if there is enough evidence to say, okay, we're going to move forward with this case. We're going to take it to trial. But as of right now, the preliminary hearing, the pre preliminary hearing, let me just make that clear. The pre preliminary hearing, this is where they are going to have or give the opportunity. The judge is going to give them the opportunity to actually get all the evidence, exchange all the information, and do what they need to do in order for them to either defend their client or for the prosecution to ensure that there's sufficient evidence to move this case forward. So it's very interesting to see how this case is going to play out. It is it's a very sensitive topic. Um, we've watched Karlissa on another content creators, panel kind of break down because this is getting to her. And I can only imagine as a parent how she could feel. I would be boo-hooing my eyes out if I was in this situation. I wouldn't know what to do. So I do commend the mothers who, have loved ones or sons or daughters that who are incarcerated and they're going through these things. But as of right now, this is what it is. So the bill amount for each is $50,000 each. A total of $100,000. Right now, he has 3 felonies and a misdemeanor that he is fighting. Is the prosecution going to have enough evidence to pursue this case? Will the defense do what they need to do and challenge whatever information that the prosecution has? We won't know until we get any updates, either from Karlissa or if they decide, to come out and tell us what's going on. But as of right now, that's what it is. He's just waiting for the preliminary hearing to see what, it's not going to determine, oh, you're guilty or you're not guilty. He's just entering in a plea. They're gathering all the evidence, all of the witnesses. They're reviewing that information to see if they need to move forward with trial. That's all it is. Y'all let me know. I know this is a very, very sensitive topic, but y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, you all be blessed and I'm out. Bye.